Hey, what's up everyone? Today we have a RedMax EBZ 8550. Funny story is I have this exact blower. It might be the 8500, I don't remember. But the only thing that's different on mine is mine has a little handle on this side that folds down. I hated that to begin with, now I enjoy it. This one has a trigger. Problem is the trigger. The owner says that it doesn't actually trigger anymore. Oops. I don't really hear anything moving, so we have a problem there. First couple thoughts is either that mechanism is actually broken, the cable could be broken, or the connection on the carb could be broken. The carb could be broken, or it could just be messed up. So the messed up is the easiest one to fix, and it's going to be the cheapest. So let's see if we can work our way cheap to expensive. In addition, they did try to take off this cover, or they did take it off, and lost the screws. So they gave me replacement screws to put in there to anchor that, because that would just be annoying to listen to while you're using it. So let's go ahead and get this started, see what's going on. So, funny story, I look down, you see that? The throttle cable is not even in the slot it needs to ride in to work properly. I think to give us a little bit more working room, or at least me more working room, I'm going to take off this air cover right here. That way we can really dig in there. It's just held together with a couple of clips. That's better. To make it a little bit more enjoyable, I also blew it off a little bit to clean it up. This should just come off. This might be a clip somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's on the bottom right here. Okay, so what do we have going on? That should go inside. It's not really wanting to. The amount of play on this cable is pretty astounding. Like, that is pulled all the way. It's not right. Not right at all. Is this a new cable? No, it can't be a new cable. Is this just a new carb? Like, just look at the length of that cable. We might have to open the handle and see if that is causing some of our problem. Wasn't really wanting to do that. We might have to. So we'll go ahead and open that handle. I'm hoping for the cable came dislodged. That would be ideal. And we just have to put it back into place, and that nothing broke inside of it. Okay, I think we found a problem here. That supposed to be back here. I'm going to disconnect it from the carb so we have a little working room here. Or maybe I'll just put it into the carb where it should be. That might be a better option, huh? Okay. See that little groove? that's supposed to keep it there. So when we pull on it, it pulls on the cable. That cable is a little sticky. Let's put a little lubrication on it. Give it a couple pulls. Let's lube it up right there. There we go. You'd be surprised how often I see this happen. Usually, it's the result of someone working on it, and the throttle cable, for whatever reason, just became dislodged. We have a lot of actuation now, the proper amount on the carb. So I'm going to put this back on. This goes right here. Now making sure that we don't create the same problem. There we go. And let's put the screw back in. Long one first. There we go. And while we're still holding it, let's put these back in. There we go. Okay, now, fingers crossed, that's all we had to do. It's looking pretty good, not gonna lie. So now that the cable is properly in its place, the slack is pretty much gone. Watch this. This is idle where it should be, full throttle. Blam. Idle. Full throttle. Idle. Half throttle. You thought I was going to do full. Full. So I think we're set to go. I'm just going to put the screws in that I got to kind of anchor. That's really boring. I'd rather watch paint dry, so I'm just going to do that off camera and go from there. Here's another quick side note. Look at that H. Does that look familiar to you? So this definitely has a little compression. This might be difficult. Let's see here. Let's put this at like half throttle or so, and choke is on. So the reason why I show you the H is this is literally engine wise and a lot of the other components the exact same thing as a Husqvarna. The only real differences are the covers, the air filter system, and maybe like the tube and whatnot. But if you ever find yourself needing a larger blower and you find a equivalent sized Husqvarna, they're generally a little cheaper and they're literally the same engine. I know that for a fact because I have replaced two and a half. One of them I had to replace the bottom end because it cracked. So 2.5 full engines, and every single time, if you look up the part, it's the exact same part for Husqvarna. So let's see if it turns on. If not, we'll have to do a little carb cleaning. The fuel lines look good though. So I hopefully would. Oops. I did not like going full throttle at all. I am off choke, right? Yeah, that's choke. That's off. I might have a carb cleaning anyway. Let's try it again. I don't think that's good. Let's look at the fuel. That's a lot of fuel. I'll try to pour some out and we'll look at it. This is the fuel that came out of it. It's definitely aged. I don't want to say that this is a performance engine because it's not, but it is a engine that's going to require a little bit less aged of fuel because just the nature of them. So I'm going to empty out the full gallon of old 2-cycle fuel and I put some fresh stuff in. Now when you empty it out, make sure to prime it. That forces as much fuel as it can out of the carb. And then when you fill it up again and you're priming it, it's going to pull up extra fuel that's coming from the good fuel source. And when you fill the primer bulb full, give it like 5 or 6 extra pumps just to kind of cycle the fuel through the carb. That's what I'm gonna do. Then we'll see what we have. Okay, we have a little bit of non-ethanol, newly mixed fuel. I literally mixed it right before I put it in it, and let's see if it works. If not, then we're gonna have to clean the carb. No way around that. I might just buy a new carb because the newer ones will have a choke actually on top of the carb, and the choke handle on or lever on this is broken. Might be in the future. Might even have one over here. Let me see. That's a negatory. But oh well, they're generally inexpensive unless you get the actual one made by RedMax. But that's a different video for a different day. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, when we will get to a work. Let's choke off. No, let's choke off. I'll choke on. See what happens. Let it work the fuel and get it warmed up a little bit. What do we have here? Looks like we have a perfectly good working machine, and all it took was a little bit of fresh fuel and the cable slipped out. Like I said, this is a fairly common problem. You'd be surprised if you look for that handle or the throttle handle or the entire piece. I think you might actually have to buy the whole, including the kill wire and the throttle cable. Don't quote me on that one, I'm not 100% sure, but at the very least you're looking at least $50 to $60 if you are gonna have to buy the whole thing. If you don't, probably looking at least $30. For whatever reason, this happens quite often when someone takes the carb off or tries to repair something on the carb. This also tends to happen to professionals who put them on the side of like trucks. I've noticed the cable will get pulled, and when it gets pulled, it might just pull right out and cause problem. So what I'm going to do to kind of help rectify that, so I'm probably going to first push this in as far as I can. This clip right there, I'm probably going to move to the very end, and then I very well might even try to zip tie the cable to the actual tube. That one I may not do, because you do want to be careful of it binding when you move. That area, depending on how you're using it, can go through a wide range of movement. But either way, it's a pretty common thing. If you do have that problem, don't just instantly buy something. Open it up. I don't think I've ever actually seen one broken, at least not me. I'm sure it does happen, but I've never seen it. So open it up, see what you have going on there before you make any rash decisions, and go from there. Okay. And other than that, everything seems to be pretty good. This needs to be adjusted a little bit so it's the same. Don't know why would one side be longer, but yeah. I didn't show it, but I did put a new plug in there. The old plug was pretty nasty. Put an NGK, and that's about it. Okay, if you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Have a good night.